What's up everybody and welcome to the channel. My name is Zach and I make videos about photography, camera gear, amateur videography, and vlogs. In today's video, we are talking about some quick and easy video settings for the Nikon Z6ii. I'm going to show you how to set up two user presets that allow you to quickly switch back and forth between 24 frames per second A-roll shots and 60 frames per second B-roll shots. Let's jump right into it. First things first, power your camera on. We're going to use this switch right here to go to video mode, and you're going to change your dial to manual. All right, let's jump right into it. Hit menu. Let's set up our buttons. Go to the custom settings menu and go down to G for movie. Customize I menu. Let's go through these. We've got picture control, frame size and rate, highlight display, frequency response, electronic VR, autofocus area mode, focus mode, vibration reduction, destination, metering, microphone sensitivity, and white balance. To change any of these options, select the one you want to change, hit the OK button, choose what you want, hit OK again. That looks great. Let's go back. Next up, one down to custom controls. And this is what I like to use. Function 1 I've got set to white balance. Function 2, focus mode. Right below that, sub-selector center, that's pressing in on the joystick. I like to set this to choose image area. To the left of that, autofocus on button, that's up here. I change that to auto exposure lock hold. Below that, the shutter release button, I just have that set to take photos in video mode. And the lens control ring option, I just leave turned off. Here's what's available. You've got focus, aperture, exposure comp, ISO. I found that I was accidentally hitting that and didn't really need it set up, so I just turned it off. OK button I've got set to reset, and you can copy the rest of those things right there. Looks good. Half press the shutter button, and let's get to where we can tweak our actual camera settings. Hit the I menu button right there, and starting from the top left, let's get it going. All right, first things first, let's set the picture profile. Click on that. I like to use flat because I like to do a little color grading in post, but you can see the different options here. You'll have to play around with what you like the look of. For me, I prefer standard, or again, if you want to do a little color correcting, flat. Hit OK to save that. One to the right, now we're going to set up our frame rate. There's a lot of options here. I like to shoot in 4K because it gives me more flexible editing in post, so let's do that. For our A-roll setup, we're going to select 2160, 24 frames per second. Hit OK. That's good to go. Bottom left, let's set up our white balance. So all the way to the left here is auto. This is going to do a good job most of the time. Natural light auto might give you a little bit more of those warmer tones in your image. Either one of these are going to be great for run and gun. If you're in a studio setup using lights, go over to the Kelvin option. Hit down, change that to 5600 Kelvin, and hit OK to save. To the right of that, we've got our microphone sensitivity. I find with my Rode mics, I like to keep this on 10, 11, somewhere around there. But again, for run and gun settings, if you go all the way to the left, there is an auto microphone option there. The camera is going to automatically adjust its microphone gain to get you what it thinks the best audio is going to be. Again, this is great for run and gun stuff. I'm always using a mic I'm familiar with, so I like to keep it right here. All right, metering, just keep this on matrix metering, that's fine. Destination allows you to choose which card slot is going to get the video file. I like to use CF Express because it's faster to transfer to my computer. VR, yes, absolutely want that turned on for stable footage. Just turn that off if you're using the device on a gimbal or something like that. Focus mode for A-roll shot, just full-time AFF is great. And our autofocus area mode, this I like to leave on auto area autofocus, but you could also turn it on to where it does people. That's going to get you the face and eye detect, which is pretty useful. In fact, let's just put it there. All right, rest of that stuff looks good. Let's set our shutter speed. Using the back dial, change it to 1/50th of a second to follow that 180-degree shutter rule. For aperture, that's changed with the front dial. I like to leave this just on the lowest minimum aperture of the lens. This lens is the 14-230 f4, so we're going to change that to f4. For ISO, hit and hold the ISO button, and we can use our back dial to change that value. Just change it to 100, and with your front dial, that button held down, change it to auto. So that's auto ISO with a minimum value of 100. This is going to do a great job in most situations. Let's save this as a custom preset. Back to the menu. On the left side, go down to Setup, and we're looking for Save User Settings. Save this one to U3, and then click again to save. Perfect. Half press the shutter button, we're back here. The reason we're doing U3, I like to shoot in manual. It's the closest thing on the mode dial to manual, and I'm going to use this most of the time when filming. All right, back to manual. Let's set up our B-roll. Back to the I menu, and we're not going to change much. Go to frame size and rate, and we're just going to change this to 2160 at 60 frames per second. All right, flat's good, Kelvin's good. Microphone sensitivity. You can honestly turn the microphone all the way off. I find when I'm shooting B-roll, I never use the audio, but if you want that audio file baked into the video, keep it where it was on the previous preset. The last thing I like to change on my B-roll setup, go to the top right autofocus area mode, and I like to change this to wide area AFL. All right, that gives me a nice focus box there. It doesn't use the entire frame, so it's easier if I'm focusing in on details to be able to do that. All right, everything looks good here except for the shutter speed. To get that double the frame rate shutter speed, change it to 1/125th of a second. Everything else is good. Hit menu, save user settings, and this time we're saving it to U2. Click, click, done. Half press the shutter button. So now what we've got, U3, click that. You can see 1/50th of a second, it's already updated. It's changed back to my autofocus area mode that I had set up in the first preset. Like, it's good to go for walking around, doing your A-roll shots, filming with your camera. Yeah, something cool happens, you want some slow motion B-roll, switch it to U2. And now you can see our shutter speed has changed. We're now shooting at 60 frames per second, and you've got some nice slow-mo footage that you can get from that. It's worth mentioning that the 60 frames per second in 4K on the Z6ii is cropped in, so it is going to be a little tighter than what you had on your A-roll shot. There you can see the A-roll crop and the B-roll crop. It does zoom in, so just be aware of that. That is pretty much all I've got for you guys. You now have 2 custom presets to help quickly switch back and forth between A-roll and B-roll shots on your Nikon Z mirrorless cameras. I will say, for consistency's sake, especially if you're filming in a bright outside environment, you might consider getting a variable neutral density filter, which is basically like sunglasses for your lens. Because sometimes when you're shooting at that 1/50th of a second shutter speed at 24 frames per second, you'll find that outside it is just a little too bright and you're overexposing the image. A simple fix, again, is a variable neutral density filter. Take a look at those, and I appreciate you guys watching. Let me know what you thought in the comment section below. What are you going to go out there and shoot with your Nikon Z mirrorless cameras? And I will see you in the next video. Bye.